Hello and welcome. We are doing an old school Tuesday night live tonight where we just do a Q&A about all the topics that we love. Aliens, NPCs, matrix glitches, plant medicine, all different types of things. So hello, welcome everybody. I hope you came with your questions. And, so far on TikTok over here, someone had some questions about making the best grilled cheese sandwich. So, you know what? Really, whatever you want to ask about, let's do it. And my answer to that was a little hack that somebody told me was instead of using butter on the outside, don't get grossed out, don't be judgmental. You use mayonnaise outside and it comes out so crispy and so even. But you know what? There's no rules tonight. So, first, let's start with one of the topics that is in the title. Let's talk about NPCs, right? Because this is a fun topic, which is also like not fun, right? Like soulless people. So, not to be morbid about it, but it's a topic that, I've broken down before and not to brag, I did a really good video on it. So let's talk about the NPC thing because there's a lot of ways that this word is used. So a lot of times people use NPC, the non player character. That is, kind of an insult, kind of a derogatory term. And it's a little different than what we're actually talking about. So sometimes people are using the word NPC to mean someone who's just kind of like on autopilot or going through the motions or is like not awakened or something. And obviously, that's not what an NPC is. Everybody, has the ability to kind of tune out and go into autopilot and all of that. But this concept of NPC, it comes from video games. And Dolores Cannon was someone who really popularized it as something in the real world. And she talked about the backdrop people. So it was in Convoluted Universe book 4 and 5 that I believe that she started to get that information. It was towards the end of her career. And one of the things that they say in that book is that these people are part of the hologram, that this reality as we know is a hologram, and they're part of the hologram, and that these people are really here to propel the, you know, player characters, the people who are fragments of source energy in the body to motivate them and to agitate them. And basically Dolores Cannon asks this client that's under hypnosis, well, how will I know if they're real? Can I touch them? And it's like, yeah, of course you can touch them. There's no way to know who's an NPC, who's not. And basically saying that these people, it's not that they're not real, right? Because what is real? Nothing's real. You zoom out enough, none of this is real. I'm not real. You're not real if we zoom out enough. So real is maybe not the right word. It's are they an individual aspect of consciousness that is self aware? Now, we have some other interpretations. Let's go real old school. We're doing Dolores Cannon. We have to do that's our spiritual grandmother. We have to go with our conspiracy grandfather, David Icke, right? So, David Icke is another person who did like a nice little breakdown of this many years ago, where he talked about kind of three different layers of it. So, you have like your kind of people that are like soulless, according to him. But really, what that is that person is not an I am consciousness. And, I don't suggest anybody thinks about this in their day to day life, right? Because you're never going to know who's an NPC. You're not married to one, you're not related to one. These are not people that you're really probably interacting with it, if it even is true. Because as we know, as you go deeper into your spiritual journey, as you go deeper into your self discovery, you realize everything's a half truth. So even something like this is most likely a half truth, just like everything else is a half truth. So, but kind of having fun. Like I said, we're having a fun Tuesday night live tonight where we're just going to kind of talk about these different little fun topics that kind of got us all interested in these things. And so David Icke breaks it up as like kind of these people who are parts of the matrix, so to speak. And these are kind of like the Agent Smith type of people that these are like agitators that get the, light source players, the source players, getting them motivated to move, to change, to have an opinion, to evolve, to do better, to do worse, to feel something. Then there's like this middle layer, which are the majority of people, according to him, that is the layer of people who where most people are using the word NPC, where this is somebody who is just not aware, is just not, they're in autopilot. They're just kind of going through the motions of life. They're not really thinking too deeply. I actually think there's less and less of these people, or this person is evolving, right? This group of people is very much evolving because, I mean, right? Everybody's into the Epstein files, everybody's into aliens, everybody's into these things. So is it now that's the NPC thing, or is everybody waking up, or how could we really ever know? And then we have like our third layer, which is, according to David Icke a long time ago when he said that, is the smallest group of people who are here, which are self aware, which are living in their purpose, which are, and this is also what Dolores Cannon said, is that these kind of main player characters are the people who are guiding consciousness, that are guiding the trajectory of the planet. And of course, everyone wants to think like, these are the light workers. No, these are the good, the bad, the ugly. It's all of the stuff. Not only good people drive consciousness, not only bad people drive consciousness. There is no real good or bad people. So what we're doing is kind of moving through, and right, reality is held by the consciousness of us. So this is who, what did you say? You're learning geomancy. You'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. I do not know what geomancy is. To be honest with you, I would love to tell you, but I have no idea. I wish I was more prepared. Um, Vessels with no soul driving their journey. NPCs rarely change. They stay the same all the time. Maybe. You watched The Truman Show earlier today, and this is so appropriate right now. Okay, so Truman's wife is a great example of that kind of middle character, right? So like Truman's wife, like she knows that it's like not real, but she's still just going through the motions. And like, everybody uses her as like when the world is ending and influencers are still like promoting the product, where she's talking about like the chocolate milk or whatever. It's okay. It's niche, but it's cool. Just wanted to say hi. Hi. Thank you. And thank you for the super chat. And also, I'll look into geomancy. Send me something. I would definitely look into it. Okay, let's see. Let me take a look at the questions here. I have 3 devices here. I have my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Let's see. Let's do Instagram first because it usually will have the least comments and engagement. So no one gets out alive. We're all going to find out. Not sure about NPCs, but I believe in people put here to do nothing and to trigger other people. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And that's the thing is we have to not put those people less than, because those people are literally the whole point, right? Would any of us get to do or be anything if it wasn't for the people who trigger us, who provoke us, who push us to be good, push us to be bad? Like that is the whole point of the game. You're a pro at multitasking, girl. Thank you. All right, let's see what is the questions here on TikTok, if there's any yet. Let's see. I scrolled back too far. Can we talk about grilled cheese? Okay, no. What to do if you're in love with someone but didn't want to simp and look like your average, or should? Okay, love advice. This is where we're going. So you said mayo instead of butter. Yes, mayo instead of butter on the outside of the bread. You know what? If you're playing these games with people, it's never going to be what you want it to be. So if you're playing these games of like, I don't want to come off a certain way, then either it's something with you or it's something with them, but it's not going to work. So maybe it's something with them, like they're not really that into you and you know that, and you're mitigating your own feelings, or maybe you are genuinely not ready. And, you know, I was someone who was an avoidant, and I would be the same way. I would always be kind of, keeping my distance. And you know what happens when you don't actually protect yourself? When you want to keep your distance in a relationship, you're creating the space for it to never fully be anything of significance either. Because a lot of people will say, like, people are emotionally unavailable. But they have to be honest with themselves. Are they emotionally unavailable? That was something like for me. Why did I keep ending up with cheaters, even though I wasn't a cheater? I would never cheat on somebody. But how did I keep ending up with cheaters? And it was actually, many reasons. But really, one of the biggest reasons was I was so afraid of being hurt that there was a part of myself that I was blocking off. And by blocking that part of myself off, I was also attracting people who were not able to fully be in love and present. So, and then also the other thing too, let's talk about the empath and narcissist thing, which, could be the energy vampire narcissist on one side and then like the empath people pleaser on the other side. This is like probably one of the most common patterns that we see in, toxic relationships, especially in the spiritual space. And everybody's like, well, I was with a narcissist. I was with a narcissist. I was with a narcissist. And then we have this thing of like everything is a mirror of you. So how is that, right? How was I never going to cheat on someone but was always dating cheaters? How is someone who's this people-pleasing empath always going to end up with narcissists? But then we're told that this is a mirror of us. So what exactly does that mean? That means that it's the root is the same. And these are two different symptoms. So when we come back to the root, what makes someone a narcissist? Their needs were not met. What makes someone a people pleaser? Their needs were not met. What makes someone an energy vampire? Their needs were not met. What makes somebody an empath? A lot of times their needs were not met. So these are two different sides of one coin that basically you're going to act in a way. So basically, and also too, it's kind of like feminine and masculine thing, not men and women, right? But masculine is action, feminine is receptive, right? We have these forces of nature that are always either outward and receiving. And so that's what's happening there. So if you find yourself in this same pattern again and again in a relationship, instead of staying in the victim mode, because I mean that's, you do feel like a victim and it is a victim and it does hurt and you probably have been victimized in a way and feel that way. However, you have to take responsibility in order to change it. So you need to go back to, and it's not like, oh, well, I'm deserving of this. No, it's not that you're deserving of this behavior. It's you need to go back to the root cause of what made you this way and what made this person this way. And you guys both have the same wound. And a lot of times the people in our life, we're just resonating on the same wound. And that's the frequency that we're sending out. You never got a good vibe from people calling people NPCs. Makes me feel more disconnected rather than connected. Well, absolutely. It's definitely not one of those positive topics to talk about, right? At the end of the day, we're all one, right? But that means we're also one with, trees and also one with technology, right? We're one with everything. We're not only one with living objects. We're one with inanimate objects. We're one with everything. This whole thing is one. So at the end of the day, the NPC is still us and it's still all part of us. And we're all just background actors in, God's dream. We're side characters. You had a therapist tell me tell me that if I'm ever attracted to a woman right off the bat to run. I hear that. I hear people say that a lot, and I don't know how I feel about that, right? There's a lot of people that say, like, if you're attracted to somebody, then that's probably not the person for you. I don't believe that. What I believe is, do you have to perform for that person, right? If you feel that you have to perform for someone that you're attracted to, like you need to make yourself seem different than who you are, then that's not aligned. But of course, you're going to be attracted to the person that you want to be with. And, especially, I think, you said women. I can't see from your profile picture. It's small if you're a woman or a man. But also, too, the way that men operate, a lot of times, they're going to have to be attracted. Women, on the other hand, are a little bit more, they grow attraction over time. So, of course, a woman, I was very attracted to my husband when I first met him. But at the same time, women in general become more attracted to people over time. And, men do need that physical attraction. So now I listened to like an audiobook or seminar or something from this woman, and it was about like the opposite sexes. And one thing that she said that was so interesting was if a man says it's just a physical thing, right? Because this has happened, right? They're like, oh, it's nothing. It was just physical. Or maybe someone cheated and they're like, it was just physical. Or maybe they're like, their attraction to someone is just physical. The woman interprets it as It's just their body that they're attracted to. Oh, he's just attracted to my body. That's not what that means. It's just physical means the attraction is purely biological. It doesn't mean that it's about the person's body. It's that the man is talking about his own body is the only part that's lit up, that his mind and his heart are not lit up when he says it's only physical. It means it was just biological. It actually has nothing to do with the woman's body. The woman's body could be freaking banging or not. It's actually nothing. So the way that women are interpreting it is, oh, they only want me for my body. It's actually not the case. It's actually they were talking about their own body. And I thought that was such a great representation of it. Okay. I heard that sometimes when people think they're in love right off the bat, that they're actually in love with the idea of that person and it fades when they get to really know them. That could be true. That could be true for sure in some cases. But I also think that, we diminish real love and attraction sometimes by saying that. Although, what we have to say is you can be very excited, but, say like, for example, that twin flame stuff. So, I'm not a believer of the twin flame thing, and I'm already ready for someone to start screaming, well, you never met your twin flame. That's why. You'll know when you feel it. I've been attacked in the comments many times from people who said, you've never met your twin flame. But the whole twin flame thing actually like coincides with this Neptune in Pisces cycle that we just had, right? Because we just had from 2011 to like a month ago, Neptune was in Pisces. Neptune is the spirituality, Pisces is spirituality, but it's also Delulu, right? So spiritual Delulu, the spiritual guru, the spiritual psychosis, the chosen one syndrome, the I'm more special than everybody else because I'm from somewhere else. All of these this whole like kind of outside of the self spiritual journey, this whole Delulu spiritual journey really happened in the collective from 2011 until just about a month ago, where now Neptune is in Aries. So I believe Neptune in Aries is going to bring us to like the self again, to the self-motivated. Instead of going to psychics for your messages, people are going to trust themselves more instead of always needing to listen to what is going to happen with the earth shift. When is the earth shifting? When is the new earth? When is disclosure happening? Instead of waiting for a channeler to tell them the same damn information that we've been hearing since the 70s. And it's still to be, okay, it's going to be the year 2000. It's going to be the year 2012. It's going to be the year 2020. It's going to be the year 2027. Now it's 2028, 2029, 2030. This whole kind of, it's happening, but it's not yet, that whole thing. Like, I really think as Neptune goes into Aries, the beginning of the zodiac and kind of this fire starter energy, I think this is like lighting a fire inside people to trust their individual selves and to be their own guidance and to feel back to themselves. So, but being the channeler gives some of us a job. Well, no, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with channelers, right? Like there's nothing wrong with channelers. Do you think the earth shift is happening now? Okay, so you guys know. This was one of the topics that completely changed my life. I did the earth shift series on TikTok and it completely changed my whole trajectory of my life. So I'm very grateful for this topic. However, in my own journey over the last 4 years of since that went viral on TikTok, I've gone deeper into my own healing, into consciousness, into the self, instead of so much of like the outside reading the books. I love Dolores Cannon, but it's like, Dolores Cannon is not me. I need to check in with myself and know what this stuff means. And my belief now is that all of these things were foundational information, right? All of these spiritual teachings were actually the foundation. So I do believe that there's an element of it that is always going to be true. I believe what Dolores Cannon said about the 3 waves of volunteers, that there was like these people who laid a foundation. The second wave was way showers. And then the third was these kind of crystalline children that are coming in that are like these new type of people. And we're seeing that, right? We're seeing the children that are born now are very different. A lot of them are nonverbal. A lot of kids are communicating in a different way. We're seeing the telepathy tapes. We're seeing this change and shift that is happening that is obvious. There's obviously something truly happening with humanity and children and things changing. And of course, human design talks about this, right? The whole point of human design was for 2027 for the new children so that we would know how to understand ourselves and to understand them if they're going to be different and communicate different and be nonverbal, and they won't be able to maybe communicate their needs. So we're seeing a lot of this stuff actually come to fruition. However, my belief of like some 5D earth shift that is just going to miraculously happen and these timelines are just going to split, I don't believe in that anymore. I believe that it is our choice every single day to choose between two timelines. I mean, we have infinite timelines, right? And infinite possibilities. But it is our choice as individuals. Instead of, oh, I'm choosing for the whole collective and I'm responsible for the whole planet. No, you are responsible for you. And you, every single day, making a choice between do I want to live on a higher timeline or do I want to choose an old timeline? Do I want to live in a new life for me or do I want to live in an old life for me? Do I want to live on a new earth or the old earth? This is a personal choice that each and every one of us make every single day. And it's a lot easier to just think that there's going to be some miraculous thing that happens once we reach this miraculous number of awareness where we just all shift into it and it's utopia. And that's just not the truth. It's our choice every day, but we learn through stories. So humanity, we're very young. And how do children learn? Children learn through stories. Earlier in humanity's history, we learned through myth, through folklore, through the Bible, right? Through these different stories. And how do you teach a kid that it's not good to lie? The little boy who cried wolf. Because honestly, it's probably pretty good to lie if you're a kid, right? You're going to get away with things. You're going to get what you want. It probably serves you to your benefit to lie. But instead, we tell kids a story about the little boy who cried wolf so they can know the bigger reason of why you don't lie. That is what I believe most of the spiritual beliefs are, just like the Bible is a book of stories, right? New Age spirituality is a book of stories. Our experience is a story. We're a story. Each one of our lives are a story. So, what I think is these spiritual teachings have to go to the next level. Otherwise, we're going to max out and kind of be like, I used to be spiritual, but eh, people, I'd rather watch Love Island. I'd rather watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'd rather just go chill and, do something else because we max out on these stories. You reach a level where what is next? Paradox, half truth. This is where you get more into like the Hermetic teachings, and not that Hermetic teachings are the ultimate, but it's the next step above story. It's the next step where these are principles of reality. Like, for example, all truths are half truth. Everything is in paradox. There is no true opposites. There's only, you said spiritual awakening, right? We have many spiritual awakenings in our life. The people who think that they have one spiritual awakening are in for a hell of an awakening because you have many in your lifetime. Okay, let's see. Put a 1 in the chat if you see JK Ultra live on Saturday. Super exciting. Oh, yes. So this Saturday, thanks for bringing it up. This Saturday, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, I'm going to be speaking at the Heart of Oneness Expo. It's in Edison, New Jersey. My lecture is on the 28th, March 28th at 1 p.m. I would love to see you guys there because I'm always doing these events. California, did them in Vegas. Oh, yes, you guys are coming. Cool. So I'm really excited to be able to, and I'm from Jersey. So that's why I'm really excited to do that conference because one, I don't really ever get to do any of, this stuff there. Mostly I'm only there for my family. And so it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be talking about finding your purpose. And I'm really looking forward to it. Also, you guys, you've probably seen, if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, or if you see the shorts on YouTube, um, that there's a couple of different things that I'm promoting right now. So, as you guys might have noticed, there's a lot of different things that I'm promoting right now. And, in the beginning of this year, one of the things that I was calling in is like opportunities that are aligned. And, I'm always very grateful that I have a lot of aligned opportunities. But I want to align with products, brands, and things that I love and use anyway. So, as you know, I did my, which this is the last day for it, for Monroe Institute. So, if you were thinking about getting the gateway experience at home, 20% off. This is the last day. It's going to be the end of the day, the 24th, March 24th for the 20% off. So the coupon for that is GVO-JK Ultra. It gets you over $100 off of the course. I'm redoing it right now with my husband. As you know, I went to Monroe Institute and I did the gateway experience in person. It was freaking awesome. And now I'm redoing it at home with the at home program. And it is like identical. It is so good, so close. They do such a good job. Like, I've already been talking about it. If you're interested in doing it, do it before midnight tonight, probably before midnight on the East Coast, I would assume, because Monroe Institute is on the East Coast. So that'll be like 9 p.m. if you're Pacific, if you're interested in doing it. If you miss it, you still get 10% off using the code, and that just goes on forever as long as it's available. So that's still a great deal. That's like, what, $50 off? But if you are here now, then that's what you want. The other thing that you probably seen me talking about today is this another incredible company that I'm doing a collaboration with, but also that I was using and was interested in before ever doing a collaboration with it. And that's kind of like my barometer of the things that I want to work with is like, have I or would I or do I use this with or without a collaboration? If it's a yes, then it's a yes. There's many things that have reached out to me over the years, and it's kind of like, it's not that it's not a cool thing. It's just not something that I would use, you know? And I think that that's like the most important thing, right? Is to stay in integrity with that. So, with that said, um, I've been posting about these mushroom gummies, and they're so good. So I posted this video today, and while we're talking about the topic of aliens, I'll kind of get into that too. So in the past, when I've taken mushrooms, especially, you guys know when I went to the spa and I took way too many. And then I was, fighting for my life for like literally like 24 hours. Like it was so much, it's so intense. And there was 10,000 eyes everywhere. And I came to the realization that my body was being borrowed by an alien species, and they were very silly but very wise. And it was like they were showing me, this was right before I moved out of LA, so this was not that long ago, before I moved to Louisiana, and I got this awareness from this. It was like they showed me with these like 10,000 eyes. You said, "How much did I take?" Well, the product that I had taken, this is different, not the one that I'm talking about right now. This other product didn't have like any information about the dosage. It just said medium. So I just thought it was going to be medium. I became a medium of the universe, and I was the medium of consciousness. So it was a very healing experience, but it was very intense. But I got like amazing insight that, oh, mushrooms are aliens and that they borrow our consciousness. They borrow our body to like learn about Earth and also to like teach us. So we're teaching them and they're teaching us. And there's like this co creation in our nervous system. So I'm getting all of because there's 10,000 eyes. And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's a 10,000 eyes all around the universe. And so then I was like, okay, I need to look this up. And I looked it up like, is there anything around like mushrooms being aliens? And apparently, Terrence McKenna had this theory. And also, since I posted that video, I found out it's also the premise of a Star Trek movie that I've never seen. But that this mycelium network is in all of these other planets. And so there's something called panspermia. And panspermia is just what it sounds like, sperm, right? It's a seed. And this seed is basically things that can travel on space dust, ice in space, comets. Um, so it can travel in space on something, and it can survive that when it gets to wherever it's going, it can start to regenerate again. So they found that fungal spores can do this. And they've actually done multiple tests on this. So they've done tests where they've brought mushrooms into space from this European space program did it, I think about 10 years ago. They brought mushrooms into space, exposed it to the vacuum of space, exposed it to extreme temperatures, extreme radiation, and then it came back here and it was able to recuperate, recover, and regrow. So, what does that tell us, right? Mushrooms are one of those things that could have come on a rock, on a spore, on a comet, on a piece of ice, on whatever, and landed here, recovered, and then created this mycelium network. Now, we also have, you probably have heard these like kind of weird little things where they say we have more in common with like fungus than we have with trees. I heard some people say that we have more in common with fungus than we have with primates. That sounds pretty crazy. I don't know about that one. I didn't fact check that one. But I did hear that we have more in common with fungus than we have with plants. Um, and then there's also this stoned ape theory, right? Where this idea that the reason why human evolution took these leaps is because of some monkeys a long time ago ate psychedelic mushrooms. It expanded their consciousness to be able to like zoom out, see this bigger picture. And then so it's like, is this species has a mycelium network on all of these different planets, and they're all like hypermind to each other, and they send out their spores to these other planets. And then it takes billions of years in our time, from our perspective, from their perspective, it's probably maybe not even that long. If it's so vast and so wide, it's actually not that long for humans, well, first mushrooms to kind of grow and cultivate all this stuff. Then a species gets aware enough that it can actually hold consciousness, eats one of these mushrooms, starts expanding, learning language, starts making simple tools. Now we go how many millions of years or billions of years? We keep eating the mushrooms, right? Because also, I wonder when you look at some like Indian temples or you look at like these like Persian temples in like Iran, that I'm like, that is so psychedelic. Like that is so psychedelic, like not 1960s psychedelic. If you take the 60s out of psychedelic and you look at like a Hindu temple or a temple in Iran, or you look at some of these like old art, you're like, you know what? That sounds super psychedelic. And especially, if you go to an Indian temple, sometimes they have all of these engravings of these different gods with all these eyes, and they're kind of like going all of these stories of all these gods that are engraved into the walls. So, um, then it keeps happening. And look at where we're at right now. You take mushrooms now, and you have an ego death. You start to become reconnected with nature. You start to let go of the things that are not you. You start to heal the things that are not for you, and start to, like, one of the things I was talking about today on my Instagram story was the first time I ever took mushrooms, I broke up with my boyfriend of the time the next day. And one of my best friends, she took mushrooms only once. And I was there actually that day. The next day, she broke up with her boyfriend. So what's interesting is like it will remove the things for you that are not for you, and not in like a crazy aggressive way like sometimes when we ask the universe to like take things out of our path. Sometimes it's just like easy. So I'm going to link it below. You were just asking yourself that question, are mushrooms aliens? Yes, I believe they are. And I believe they're very silly, but very wise. And like we kind of pull those things apart because we're like early in our evolution, right? But if you're later in the evolution, humor, joy, laughter, being jovial is the same as being wise. Like we are so in like our hermit archetype of like wiseness is like serious. And it's like, that's not true, right? Like have some fun. So the product is I am the medicine dot me. But I'm gonna link it below because I have a for the next, like I said, if you watch this right now, the coupon is JK Ultra Spring, all one word, like spring that we just had the spring equinox. So JK Ultra Spring. I'm going to put it in the comments, the direct link to it. And anyone here on TikTok or Instagram, you can just DM me and I can also send you the link. But I'll put it in the comments here. And, that's just until the 26th. Okay. So March 26th, you buy one, get one half off. It is like I said, I'm only working with stuff that I will use myself. I bought it myself, full price with my own money before ever doing anything with this company. So this is another thing similar to Monroe Institute that regardless of getting to collaborate with them, I love them and would sing their praises regardless. So there's that. Let me pull. You guys can message me and I'll send you the link. You said, this is totally weird. My sister was talking about eating chocolate mushrooms yesterday. So this is the second time in many days that I've heard about these. And you're 58. Wow, maybe it's your time to try. Okay, so I pulled a card, but before that, because while we're on the topic of plant medicine, I have a few more things to say. What about, okay, you guys know a few weeks ago, I did the 5-MeO DMT, and I really didn't know what I was getting into. I thought I was doing the type of DMT that you see the machine elves. I thought I was gonna meet the machine elves. I didn't know that I was gonna have like a whole ayahuasca experience in less than 1 second and blast off. So I really could not let go because I was very shocked by what was happening. When I took that hit, I was like, "Oh no, what the hell have I done? It's this? I thought it was something else." It was amazing. It was beautiful. I really feel shifted since doing it. Like one of the things that I wanted to work on, my intention with taking that 5-MeO was to not worry about the things that don't matter, to not like allow these small things. And I feel, that it has shifted. Kind of, I see it in my home life, in my relationship, because I definitely, had found myself kind of getting frustrated around things that don't matter. And I would kind of later zoom out and catch myself and be like, why? Why would I kind of be bitchy or something over something that's stupid or doesn't matter, or like take something personal that's not personal, or take something like take something that's not personal, take something not personal, personal in a way like, I don't know, making it seem like in some way if my husband wants to sit on the other couch and like not sit next to me, that it's like somehow like an insult to me or something. And I was seeing myself doing this and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm making myself like I'm playing into stories that aren't true. But in the moment, I was getting so wrapped up in that. So it's like I could zoom out and later on be like, that doesn't mean anything. That's so stupid. But then I would, in the moment, not be able to get myself out of that thought. And so I was just like, what am I doing? So my intention going into that 5-MeO, which you can also work with the microdosing with this too. You said, does the micro make you feel high? Um, it depends. I think it depends. The ones, the ones that I'm talking about, they do, for me, feels a little buzzy, but like in the morning, if I take it on an empty stomach, buzzy. But if it's not in the morning, not buzzy, but I feel that like, so it depends on the person. Some people will feel a little something, but it's not like a full blown. And, if you do, then maybe you want to go less than that, from half a gummy to a quarter of a gummy if you want to cut down on that. But these are little perspective shifts, and this is the thing with plant medicine. When you use it in these ways, it can really have, like, these progressive shifts that are those stupid small things that don't matter. Like, literally the things that don't matter, plant medicine will always, or medicines, natural medicines, right, will always, I mean, even the thing if you smoke weed, which, unfortunately I can't do no more. I only just smoked every day all day for over 20 years and ruined it for myself. But, so that's me. But, if you were to smoke, you kind of are like, "Who cares? Why did I worry about that? That thing doesn't even matter." So when we're connecting to nature, what are these things? These are things are nature. You connect to nature and then you get more in touch with your own nature. And so after I took that 5-MeO, I really have noticed a big shift. I don't know if my husband has noticed it, because, you don't notice that someone all of a sudden is just a little bit less annoyed and bitchy and complaining less, right? Because it just feels like normal life. So I don't know if he's noticed these shifts, but I feel the shifts. And that's all that really matters, right? Is that I am the one that has become aware of my changes. And so then, like right after I came back from doing that, then I saw Brian Johnson, the longevity guy. And I'm not the biggest fan of Brian Johnson. Like, I really am not. Like, he gives me a weird vampire vibe. Um, but he does have some good information at times. And, I'm not trying to be in my judgment, but I'm not really, I don't really vibe with the guy too much. But I saw him talking about 5-MeO is the most longevity, and the same thing with mushrooms and other things. What they do is they rewire the neural pathways. So then new things happen, right? New thoughts. This is like what like Joe Dispenza says, like firing and rewiring the brain, right? Um, something that's, I don't know. All these little Joe Dispenza little quotes, right, about the brain and changing the neural pathways and all of that stuff, right? I don't know why I can't think of it. Something together. No, I'm not going to try it. You guys know, like every single Tuesday Night Live, I forget like some very common quote, like out of nowhere, and it just like gets erased from my brain. Like, um, so anyway, was talking about this 5-MeO being one of the most l greatest tools and medicines for longevity. I had just tried it for the first time. I didn't know what I was getting into. Like I said, if I knew what I was doing, my higher self knew what I was doing. My lower self had no idea what I was doing, and it was freaking out. But then I just saw today that he, like, finally did it, and he posted, like, a video of him doing it, and he described that, it was this very healing thing, and so it's interesting. So I really think that because I mean, he posted it yesterday, and it already has, like, about, like, 1,000,000 views or whatever. So I really think that this, like, 5-MeO DMT is about to, like, bang into the public right now and like really go to the next level. And I'm going to do an interview in April. I'm going to do a couple of different interviews with different people who are doing different things with altered states and healing and stuff like that, medicine based healing. And I'm going to interview the guy who I did the 5-MeO with because he's just like a literal medicine man, and other people too. I have some other really cool people that I'm going to be interviewing in uh, April. So you said Dr. Joe did DMT? No, it was Brian Johnson, the longevity guy. Brian with a Y. So I have a lot of other cool things that I'm going to be talking about. So on the last thing about plant medicine, Soltara. Okay. Soltara is the ayahuasca retreat. You guys know I also went to there in 2023. That was the ayahuasca retreat that I went to that was so beautiful, healing. It's the Shipibo method. So it is like very traditional and no lights, no candles, no music, dark maloka. And the only thing is the maestros singing. And they sing directly to you. You said you don't like throwing up. Well, that's what I learned from this is, and I really don't like throwing up. So for 4 nights, I resisted throwing up and just made it worse and just felt horrible. But the thing when you do any of these types of mushrooms is more fun unless you take too much. Mushrooms is more fun, but the other ones, are very hard. And so liber the fear of discomfort almost prevented me from liberation. The fear of throwing up, the fear of shitting your pants, the fear of crying, the fear of trauma coming up, the fear of being scared, being confused, being lost almost prevented me from the freedom of releasing the things that are not me. The same thing with the 5-MeO that I did. Like, I was so fucking scared. I was screaming on the top of my lungs how scared I was. And but it removed things that are not me. Like I said, mushrooms are probably the most gentle way to do that because you can also do the microdosing. Um, how can you try a 5-MeO if it's illegal? I don't know. I don't know much about it. Literally, I don't even know what I was doing. Is combo on your list? You're still scared to do it. I'm actually scared to do combo because the fear of discomfort. So everything I just said, I still have more to move through with the fear of discomfort. Your entire lifetime, you've always hated throwing up. Me too. Me too. Ugh, me too. And it's so hard. Even in ceremony, it's hard for me to do it. But that purge of stuff coming out of you, like, for example, one of the times that I was purging in the ayahuasca was like, it was literally getting rid of this story that was so defining in my life, this traumatic story that had so, like, been an inciting major incident of my life. And I literally felt it leaving me into the bucket, like, and it was no longer there. Like, there's, like, so many things, like, sometimes you don't know what it is, like, when I did the 5-MeO, the medicine was like, "It doesn't matter what it is, just let it go. You don't need to know." On the ayahuasca, because it's, like, a slower, longer process, it was like, "No, you can let it go, and it's this story, it's this moment, it's this belief, it's this thing that you've been believing, that you've been carrying." With the ayahuasca, sometimes it's like, it's this thing that's in the cellular level that has been with you your whole life, and this is the only way to get it out. You wanna do the frog toxin, that's the bufo or the 5-MeO. Um, you took when you were 20, you took liquid acid and was in the hospital for 3 weeks. You did shrooms and learned that you're a creator and love everyone and everything, and you're one with the creator and no fear. Oh my god, you were in the hospital for 3 weeks? Oh my god, I'm sorry. Throwing up has always been absolute worst. Same. You said 5-MeO is from toads, combo is from frog, and it's not psychedelic. Yeah, the combo I've never done. Um, you don't throw up during ayahuasca. I thought at some point I was, but I didn't. Oh, you didn't. I was dying of thirst and asked for help, but when the medicine wore off, I had water all around me. He said, "Nice. Little breaky form or a regular scheduled de-radicalization program." Yes. Your weekly de-radicalizing with JK Ultra. Um, so with the ayahuasca, the other reason I'm bringing it up is it's one of the other things that I'm talking about right now on Instagram and TikTok is because Soltara, Soltara, they are opening a new retreat center in Costa Rica and they're giving away 10 spots. I'm going to put all of this in the comments of the YouTube video. Any of you guys on Instagram or TikTok who want information about any of the 3 things that I'm talking about, DM me and I'll send it to you. But it's also going to be here on the comments in the comment section after I get off of here. I'll put it and I'll pin it. Soltara is doing a giveaway. 10 people are going to get to go to the new facility, and the way that they're picking them is who gets to name the place. So I'll put the link and it's a WhatsApp message, and you WhatsApp them and tell them you want to join the raffle, you want to be entered to win, and then you come up with the name of the new facility. And if they pick yours, then you'll be selected. And so I don't know where they're getting 10 people from, maybe some of like the runners up or the other names that they were considering, or maybe there's different things around the facility. I don't know all the details, but I know that that's how you enter. And then they're going to put the winners up on April 12th. So you can go to soltara.co, if you just want to go and find it yourself, or I'll put it in the comments after. And Soltara also, because this new facility is opening, if you want to secure your spot at this new facility, they're giving $500 off. There's a code if you go to soltara.co, and it'll give you $500 off to book. And then if your name gets selected, they'll refund you your deposit. So you could still secure a spot for you, and it's going to be a much better price. And then, so if you feel called to do it, this might be your way to do it. Like I'm telling you, Mother Aya works in very special ways. So this could be one of those special ways. Okay. Before we go on to more alien talk, is ritual. So this is from The Initiate's Oracle by Marcella Kroll and Adam Smith. This deck is coming out in May, but you can pre-order it now. As you guys know, Marcella is one of my really good friends, and I love all of her decks. So that's why I have it already, but it is going to be coming out. Sounds like a cult. Oh dear. Um, it's very easy to call things a cult when you don't understand it, right? Or it like triggers something in you. But I mean, I've done how many videos on that, right? I've done so many videos on like how to determine if something is a cult, and people really don't even know what a cult is. A cult is something that is closed, that is like, you know what? A lot of you guys are listening to stuff that is more culty than anything I've talked about today. A lot of people are listening to channelers who are telling you that they're the only one that communicates with some entity and gets this information from some entity. That is cult behavior, because what it is it's a closed container that you have to go through their prophet or their gifted individual to be able to get information, and that information only comes through from their thing. And then there's basically what makes channelers not cults is, so there's those one aspect. So I've done a video on it. There's 10 different things, and each of the 10 you do on a scale of 1 to 10. So there is some things that might be a 10, right? Like a channeler, that's 10 out of 10, right? That the only way you can get this message is through them, because they're the only one who has connection to it. That's a 10. But then the rest of the things are going to be 0 or 1. The other indicators are that are occult, because then on that scale, I think it's called the Boyd scale, if you look it up. The other things are indicators like, do they basically control you if you try to leave? Do they try to cut your contact off with anybody? Do they financially take advantage of you? Some people that might be a 10, right? There is some people that's a 10. But they're probably not saying that you can't um talk to your family and things like that. So that's why there's 10 different categories, and there is certain topics that maybe will have a 10, but then will be 0 for the other. So then the score is 10. If you're at like 60 and above, then it could be a cult. Okay. So, ritual. Rituals are powerful conduits that bridge the invisible realms with the physical, offering a sacred space for prayer, reverence, manifestation, and communion with spirit. As you draw this card, embrace the presence of Hethert, also known as Hathor, whose essence of music, grace, dance, song, and flow infuses your rituals with divine energy. Through rituals, you have the ability to manifest your intentions and connect deeply with the spirit realms. They serve as gateways where the unseen becomes tangible and where prayers are heard and answered. These rituals to express gratitude, honor deities, and seek guidance, they provide a structured way to communicate with the divine and acknowledge the blessings in your life. Your rituals are potent tools for manifestation of your desires by performing them with intention and sincerity. You align yourself with the flow of the universal energy, attracting what you see into yourself. The presence of Hathor signifies joy, beauty, and creativity. Her energy enhances rituals with music, dance, and grace, making them joyful and spiritually uplifting, while the Eye of Horus watches over your rituals, ensuring they unfold harmoniously with divine guidance and protection. The Ankh is a symbol for eternal life and vitality, while it while the sistrum, which I don't know what that is, it's probably this other thing that is here on the card, brings rhythm and sound to amplify your intention. Ultimately, the ritual card encourages you to embrace the power of sacred ceremonies in your life. Whether simple or elaborate, rituals invite the divine into your space, marking important moments with intention and reverence. Incorporate elements that resonate with you with music, dance, and prayer, and allow Hathor's grace to flow through your rituals, enriching your spiritual journey and manifesting your heart's desires. Well, it's interesting, right? All of these like kind of plant medicines and things that we're talking about um, are a form of ritual, right? And sacred spaces and um, you know, these different medicines are for that, right? But there's many things that are ritual. Okay, so let's see. What else do I want to talk about? You guys know that I have my Substack. We're going to be doing our hypnosis. It's going to be pre recorded for the last Sunday of the month. I do for my members, we do one free hypnosis a month, group hypnosis. And that is going to be so this whole year, we're doing about being in the now, being in the present moment. So we're doing the group hypnosis. The first one was a hypnosis to discover, why are you escaping the now? Why do you escape to your past and your stories? Why do you escape to your manifestations of the future? Why is the now not good enough? The second one that we did was around it being safe to be in the now. So the one that we did for February combined hypnosis with tapping, with somatic exercise, with affirmation. And so basically, it was a 30-minute hypnosis to reset your nervous system. So if you guys are members on the Substack and you're feeling yourself like triggered and worked up and stuff, go and do that hypnosis. Just it takes 30 minutes. Like, yeah, sure, 30 minutes is kind of long for a hypnosis for some people, but or a meditation, if you want to call it that, for some people. But otherwise, if your nervous system is dysregulated, then it could go on for days or weeks or months. And so you might as well just take the 30 minutes and reset your nervous system. And it helps program that you are safe, that you are in control. And one of the things that we worked on in last month's hypnosis was, we did tapping while in this hypnotic state so that you could actually move it through the body. But then we were using the affirmation of basically, I don't remember exactly the wording that that I used, but it was basically guiding ourselves to know that it's safe to feel our emotions because we know how to move them. It's safe to feel them because I know how to move them. What are emotions? They are energy in motion. And what happens is that when our emotions are not in motion, they feel horrible and they screw up our body and our nervous system. So it's important to keep them in motion. But what happens is a lot of times we try to not feel our emotions because then we're afraid that it's going to be too intense. But it's like, okay, it's safe to feel them because I'm a master and I know how to move them. You said, where do we go? So it's on my Substack. It's linked in my profile here on TikTok, on Instagram. It's linked in the description on YouTube. The Substack, it's jennifercarmody.substack.com. If you look that up, Those are for the paid members, and then also we just did thanks, Carolyn. Um, so we just did the first one. So what I'm gonna be doing different with the Substack is I'm actually going to be shortening the class because a lot of people are saying that the class is too long and to do it once a month, they kind of just wanna do the hypnosis part. So instead of that, on the 3rd Sunday, so the 4th Sunday or the last Sunday, I guess we'll just keep it 3rd, right? Because sometimes there's 5. Let's just always keep it 3rd for the other one. The last Sunday will always be the hypnosis. The 3rd Sunday will be and that could be flexible because we're going can we do the hypnosis on replay? Yes. It's always available on replay. There's all replays from the 12 programs from last year. So there's 12 hypnosis from last year. We have 3 from this year so far, and then there's a couple from 2024. So there's a lot of stuff on there to explore, and they're getting better. I've actually gotten not only better at doing it, but I've gotten better at editing it and creating a soundscape. So the other ones, I'm getting, I'm pre-editing them now. I used to record them live on Zoom with the group, and now I'm pre-recording so I can make sure that it sounds better, high quality. So it's improving if you are a member of the Substack. I'm always trying to make some improvements. And we're doing our live coaching calls. So we just had a live coaching call. They are not recorded. If you're there, you're there. We did like 4 people or 5 people this time, I believe. And it was interesting. All of the topics were around people who like have gotten certifications in different modalities, healing modalities, and wellness modalities. And then it's like, well, what do I do with this? And, so we had all different advice on that. But I'm sure next time it'll be about different things, because it's for paid subscribers. You come on, we talk for a little bit and kind of go about like 20 minutes on that topic and kind of I give whatever advice that I have on that topic and we can kind of work it out and get a little bit of guidance. And so it was so fun. And like, thank you everybody who came to that first coaching call because it was so amazing. Okay, so also, you guys, I have some interesting news. I am going to be moving again. I just got to Louisiana in September and I will be moving soon because my husband got his orders. So we're going to Georgia. We are going to Georgia. Oh, Jane, you said it was an honor to be there. Thank you. Thank you for coming. No, it was so fun, the coaching call. Yep. So, Georgia, here we come. I'm really excited. Thanks. Thank you guys. I'm excited. It's a whole new journey. My husband's very excited because that's where he wanted to move to. You said Georgia's so pretty, I hear. I don't know if I've really been. I mean, I've driven through Georgia. I don't think I've spent much time there. You said Georgia has some good sacred spots. Cool. Come to Nashville for a girls' night. I will. Not far from Nashville. Um, let's see. I'm gonna pull. Are you moving close to Atlanta? So I'm not gonna be right near Atlanta. I'm not gonna be too far, but I'm not gonna be that close either. Let's pull another card for us tonight. Should we talk about you're in Georgia. Cool. Okay. Lots of good restaurants. Oh, the card that we get every freaking week, huh? Okay, guys. Growth. Growth. So, as we've talked about many times, growth happens in a spiral, right? So, towards the beginning of the cycle, we have this kind of inciting incident, this thing that um, your energy is feeling harvested as fuck today. You know, maybe you just need a break. Maybe there's nothing that's taking your energy. Maybe it's just you need a break. If you feel that something's taking your energy, maybe there's something that you're engaging in, you know? Because again, right? The things that we take responsibility for are the only things that we can change. So, I mean, it's okay to take responsibility for I needed a break today and I needed to slow down, even though my mind wanted to do things. Maybe my body had a different plan. Or sometimes we feel our energy is being harvested, but what we're doing is like scrolling and watching a bunch of stuff that is not helpful to us. Okay, so growth happens in a spiral, right? So this kind of first inciting incident here, maybe it's a trauma, it's your job, it's pushing you to your limits, you're trying to change your outlook, but struggling right now. If it's your job. Well, you know, maybe there's something that you can do to start transitioning to see some other type of work, but also, um, sometimes with a job, it's those things that are pushing us to kind of push, like, we were talking about earlier with kind of like the new Earth timeline and the old Earth timeline. But that is actually a personal choice of like, do I want to change my life and do I not want to change my life? When I had quit my last job that I had, it was very difficult, but I was learning about timelines at the time. And I was like, okay, well, there's a timeline where I stay at this job, and there's a timeline that I leave this job. I already know what happens if I stay here. I have no idea what happens on the timeline if I leave. And I don't want to keep living in the way that is here. So I'm willing to take the risk of the unknown, of the uncertainty of me leaving. So it might be time to start exploring some other things. You already know what happens, but the money is addicting. The money is worth the pain. Ooh, well, maybe that's part of the reason why it feels drained, right? Maybe that's part of the draining part of it is that the money is taking the highest value. That last job that I had, I made very good money at. I made very good money at that job. And, it was a very high-end restaurant in Beverly Hills that we would have like all of these crazy. I mean, Post Malone would come in and tip $30,000. Like, not to one of us, we would all share it, but and like it's a big staff, but still, you know, like literally, I mean, Post Malone was such a sweetie and very generous. But so we it was hard to leave that job. But again, I looked around and I was like, you know what? I know what happens here. Even though sometimes cool, fun stuff happens here, I know what happens here. Do I want to kind of and the other thing is if you make good money, save up money so you can leave. That's what I did is I saved up enough to leave. Don't worry, I spent it and was broke again, but it gave me that little boost to get started on some other things. Okay. But then it was gone and then I had to claw back up from the bottom again. Okay, so the spiral. So we have this inciting incident. And then what happens is we think we heal it, we move through it, and then we cross it again. But at this time, we're doing the spiral. So we're at a little bit higher vantage point, but we're like, oh my God, I thought I healed that. Why is this happening again? And then we come around the spiral again. And we're like even longer. And we're like, yeah, okay, I moved on from that thing. I healed. Things are different. And then we come back around and we're like, damn it. I thought I healed that. What is wrong with me? Okay, now I'm going to do it in this new way. Now I'm going to try Reiki and energy work and I'm going to try mindfulness. Okay, I finally healed it. And then we go around the spiral again and we're like, okay, I healed it. It's good. It's done. And then we come back around and we get struck by that same trigger and that same thing. But each time we're seeing it from a different vantage point. So maybe at first it happened at home with your parents. Then it happened in school. Then it happened with a friend. Then it happened in a relationship. Then it happened in work. And we keep having this pattern that shows up again and again. And then it's like, okay, so now I've really learned it. Now I'm going to do shadow work because something must be hidden if this keeps coming up. And then we go around the spiral again. And each time it's longer to get around the spiral. So we get even more confident that we have healed it and cured it. And then we end up back again and we're like, what the hell? Now, the thing is that, the universe gives us these moments, these triggers, these whatever we started this conversation with on the NPCs, right? There'll always be some other thing to pop up and show up. You said you eventually get bored of the spiral, and that's how you know you're getting close. Right. And the thing is it will show up in different ways, but those ways will get easier and be shorter and impact you less. So, like say for example, betrayal, right? Betrayal is a thing that has been a theme in my life. And then finally, like I feel like I finally got rid of that. And then it happens in like little subtle ways, right? And then it happens in ways that kind of don't matter as much or impact you as much. And then like it doesn't mean that that's something that never ever happens in any way, but you change your story too. You change your perspective on it. And instead of kind of like, oh, this person betrayed me, it's like, oh, well, that person didn't know any better. And that's not an excuse for me to deal with their behavior, but it is a me understanding that that person didn't do it maliciously. Does it mean you don't have boundaries? No. That's the thing with unconditional love, right? Unconditional, you still have love for them, but there can be boundaries. So, like a bad penny keeps showing up. I don't know that phrase. Let's see if there's anything else that needs to come up today. Let's I like that phrase. Yeah, it's my first time hearing it. We'll get one more card then, and then we'll finish up. So, this is a lot of fun, guys. A nice little chill. This is like the Tuesday night lives that we used to have that were just very chill and random. Like I said, join the Substack. Oh, look at this. Nice. Beautiful. Came right out. The fruition card. Fruition. Things are coming to fruition. All your hard work is blooming and blossoming. Let's see what the little booklet has to say. Fruition represents the sacred moments when our aspirations, dreams, and sustained actions bear fruit, blossoming into tangible reality before our eyes. The unfolding lotus evokes the natural cycles of growth, perseverance, and the inevitable ripening that occurs when we align ourselves with the rhythms of creative gestation. When this card emerges, we may find ourselves basking in the radiance of the long awaited achievements, breakthroughs, or personal transformations that have finally come to fruition. We are invited to savor the nectar of our triumphs, honoring the journey that has led us in this pivotal moment of blossoming and becoming. Fruition encourages us to embrace the profound sense of accomplishment and inner fulfillment that accompanies the realization of our heartfelt goals. We are reminded that the path to manifestation often requires patience, resilience, and unwavering commitment to nurturing the seeds of our intentions through the seasons of growth. At times, this card arrives as a confirmation that our efforts have been well invested, that the natural unfolding of our life's work is occurring in perfect timing. We may find ourselves in awe of the synchronicities and cosmic alignments that have conspired to midwife our aspirations into form, imbuing us with the renewed sense of trust and the unfolding journey. Things are coming to fruition, guys. All the hard work is paying off. You joined the Substack. Do you still have access to past hypnosis? Yes, you do. So if you go through, you'll see hypnosis replays. There should be like a section that says hypnosis replays, and you should be able to find all the past ones there. There's 12 from Soul Architecture. So last year we did a program called Soul Architecture. There is just so many good meditations, hypnosis in there. It was a 12-layer program where we started with the subconscious mind. We went through the self image. We went through thoughts. Then we went through the body. We went through karmic stuff. Then we went through like sovereignty and calling your power back. And then we ended with like unconditional love. And we we did a future self, but it was future self with the unconditional love timeline. And I just want to warn you guys, this is not always your most successful, richest, hottest, most badass self. The unconditional love timeline loves you regardless, you loving yourself regardless, you living in unconditional love regardless. So it was a little bit of a hard pill to swallow for some people, even though it was so beautiful. a lot of people still wanted to very much hold on to, and it's not saying let go of your aspirations, it's not saying let go of your desire for things, but to see and tap into the timeline of unconditional love is, for some people, it was a lot more simple than what they have been manifesting. And it was a lot more accepting of what they were manifesting. But that was the last core, that was the last class of soul architecture. So that was class 10. Um, I would suggest to go and do it in order, but also whatever you feel called to do. You said, how can you sign up for the Substack? So it is, if you go to the link in my bio or you go to jennifercarmody.substack.com, and then you'll be signed up there. Will it be clear to us if we successfully experienced being hypnotized? So, with hypnosis, hypnosis is like a very deep state of meditation. So, some people, their body gets very asleep. Some people still move around because that's who they are, right? Like, that's what people do when they actually go to sleep. Some people go to sleep and they don't move around too much. Some people spin around and twirl around and kick around the whole night. So, hypnosis does look different to different people. What it is what we're doing. The main thing is we're going deep enough to know that we're in your subconscious mind. And that's when things can present themselves. That's when ideas can come up. That's where we get to go beyond the processing of the brain and the identity and stuff. We get to go past that. And sometimes we get to find out information or meet parts of the self or merge or heal parts of the self. And whatever is showing up when you get into that very relaxed state is the subconscious mind, similar to dreaming, right? When you get fully relaxed and you go to sleep, the dreams are the subconscious mind. You're so that you could scratch your nose. Yeah. If you're doing a hypnosis, meditation, Monroe Institute, whatever you're doing, if you're doing a QHHT session with me, whatever it is, m- scratch whatever you need to scratch, right? If you get an itch, scratch it. If you need to adjust yourself, adjust it. Like if you have to pee, really try to pee beforehand. But if you have to pee, then you stop and you get up and pee and you go back, you can go right back in. You just need to trust the process. This Otherwise you pull yourself out of the experience. So you just do it. And you just be intentional. And like I was saying, like don't scratch yourself like a dog. Like, like dogs like scratch themselves and they'll be like hitting the floor in between. Like don't scratch yourself like a dog. Just scratch it and gently put your hand back, Yeah. You've never been hypnotized. You hope it works. It's very much like a deep guided meditation. Sometimes people fall asleep. And that's a really good way to start working. A very good way to start working on, if you did want to do like a one on one hypnosis, the QHHT. Okay, perfect. Last question. Do you think disclosure will come soon? What a great question. Disclosure comes from within, right? So, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe aliens are real? Then disclosure has happened. If we are waiting for the government who has lied about disclosure and aliens and everything about everything, you want them to tell you what's true? How did much are you going to disempower yourself? You know what's true. You don't need anybody to tell you whether aliens are real or not real. So that's that. Anybody joining the Substack, third Sunday, let me look. Let me look at the dates here. Third Sunday, we will have the next coaching call, which will be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that'll be April 19th. April 19th will be the coaching call. April 19th coaching call, and then April 26th, another hypnosis will be come out. But this Sunday, there will be a hypnosis coming out. Yes, but meaning their false narrative, Project Bluebeam. Well, then what does that matter? right? Are you gonna fall for it? And they probably will. It's already like it's already so anticlimactic. How many like, I mean, we have these UAP hearings, and then they're saying these UAP files are about to drop and all of these things. So it's like, of course they're gonna admit that there's something, but also, I just want to tell you guys, most people are not actually ready for the truth. Even most of us here are not ready for the truth because it's not what we think it is, and I think that's the complicated part, is are these truly extraterrestrial? Are these interdimensional? Are these interdimensional beings what we think they are? It's consciousness, right? So it has to be declassifying reality, declassifying the self, declassifying what is God and not a Christian God. What is God in the sense of like the thing that is in all of us and is in everything and is in every atom and in every empty space. And what is this alive consciousness? So, like, are we there yet? There's even a lot of people who believe in spirituality and aliens that are still not ready for that. They're still not ready for that truth. They won't even reveal until their end debut plans. Yeah, I don't know. The divine source, exactly. I think it's very complicated. Is the UFO experts being killed and disappearing? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what happened to that guy. That Air Force general who went missing. I don't know. It is weird timing, but also stuff happens, you know? Yep, you've been saying that we are the tech and we are the disclosure. I believe that. Okay. Well, that was a fun Tuesday night live, guys. I will see you next week, next Tuesday. I am going to be, like I said, at that Jersey conference. Come see me. It's going to be March 28th at 1 p.m. My entry to my lecture is free. Entry into the event is $15. At 3 p.m. is my best friend Chelsea's lecture. So make sure you see her right after. At 11 a.m., before mine, is Tony Ghazi channeling mantis beings. Make sure you go and see him. So that's going to be Jersey Heart of Oneness Expo. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. See you over on Substack. Like I said, it's pre-recorded because I'm going to be at the conference this week. I'm going to post in the comments about the Soltara offering, about the mushroom offering, and the last day of the Monroe Institute stuff for 20% off. It'll be 10% off after that. Like I said, the mushrooms are buy one, get one half off until the 26th. After that, it'll be 10%. So act quick if you're interested. And like I said, Soltara is April 12th. They're announcing the winner of the 10 people who are going to go for free. So if you want to be in any type of altered state, I've got options for you. So it's in the comments. And the hypnosis, another altered state. So altered states. See you guys in Jersey. Bye.